Welcome to a new edition of the Neon Jazz interview series with legendary Kansas City pianist and radio host Max Groove. We caught up with him in early February 2021 about his latest gig that he had at Knucklehads, his radio show, how he's been doing during the COVID-19 pandemic, and hope for the future, along with a little bit more. Enjoy.
Man, it's great to catch back up with you. Thank you for taking a minute out for Neon Jazz, man. I appreciate it.
Oh, man, I'm all for it. I'm all about what you do. You do a good job.
Thank you, man. And, I guess I want to start off first and foremost with the fact that you had a live show that was a big success, and that's just something we haven't heard over this last year, any live music. What was that like? Talk to me about that experience.
It was great. Of course, I hadn't had any gigs since March. My last gig was March 13th with my trio at the Blue Room, so to get a chance just to play, and we hadn't practiced. We just sounded great. I mean, it was magical. It was, because you haven't done it for a year and everybody is all excited to play the music again. We just nailed it. It was awesome. It was a little eerie to be wearing a mask, the whole time. But, that's what you got to do. It's the protocol, and that's the requirements. And so but most of the people had their mask on. And when I take a break, I'd give somebody a hard time about it, if he didn't have it on. It was probably one of my friends. And I said, get that mask on, you idiot. But that's what required. Yeah. And so it was a great night, and the people loved it. I just watched a video of it. My bass player had 4 GoPros sitting out, and he just sent me one of the songs we did. In fact, it was funny. One of the few cover songs I do in my concerts is Janet Jackson's "Come Back to Me."
Oh,
and so he sent me that, and boy, that just sounded great. I mean, I haven't played it forever, but we nailed it. There was no mistakes, and at the end of it, the people exploded. So I do have, we're working on getting our videos all put together of that night. And we'll be putting them up on YouTube or wherever.
That's beautiful, man. And this is probably the first interview in a long, long time where I've had a triumphant testimonial for live music. So that's wonderful. So let's go back to March. Talk to me a little bit about what you've been doing this year. I know you got a radio show, and I know that you got things going. How have you dealt with the pandemic and the shutdown over the last year?
Poorly. Poorly. I play live music. I've been doing that since '73, full-time for a living. I haven't had a day job in all these years. So for 48 years, I've been doing just music, and I don't teach. I don't like to teach. I don't like to work in music stores. I just like to perform live, and I prefer, since 1980, I've been doing my original music that I write and produce for my albums. So it's a real honor and a blessing to be able to have the gift of being able to, in my opinion, having the gift from God to be able to make music, let alone have this incredible life. To do original music and for a living is like, whoa, it's like the ultimate. And to have been able to do it all these years, what a blessing. And so it was really hard for me when the pandemic hit, and then not to be able to go to the next gig. I had a gig the very next day, and everything was shut down. It was like, whoa. And so, it's been really I can't say it over the air how I truly feel, but it's been a real mess, I just hate it. And let alone being broke on my butt. I've gone through all my savings, all the royalties I had, over the years, when I get all my money, I just hold on to it because that's what you do. You don't blow it on anything. You just hold on to it because there's going to be days like this. Well, here's those days, just to have no money, and just watch it all go out the door. It's disconcerting, to say the least. And I'm 70 years old. It's just been a real bummer, to be honest.
Yeah.
And I hate to, and that's just my own testimonial, let alone all the people, the horror of people dying over this. And I've had 8 friends in almost 3 months now that have died directly from COVID. You just can't keep crying. These are musicians and great people I've known my whole career that are close friends. A songwriter friend of mine we've written songs that I had a couple of hits out, and he wrote the lyrics for them. And so it's like, oh my God, he's dead, and he shouldn't be. He's just a couple of years older than me, and so I mean, we were all doing so well. So yeah, I'll just answer your question. It really sucks.
Yeah,
on all levels.
And I guess, the only thing that we really have to hold on to during this time is hope. And as we look to the future in this town that we love, Kansas City, how do you see everything coming back to life and rebounding? I mean, obviously you had a triumphant moment on stage. Things we're hearing more and more are opening up. The baseball season is going to open. People are going to be in the stands. But for live music, jazz, Green Lady, all these venues, Blue Room, what do you see for the revival and everything coming back to life, Cher?
Well, gosh, I hope it's this year. I swear I do. I know the guy, Knucklehads, wants me to come back and play there in April because he liked our show and how well we did. I played there a year ago. Geez, it's January, actually. January 2nd last year. We did a pretty good show, but I don't know why he didn't really ever want to bring me back, and now he sees how successful it can be again. So that opened the door for me, and hopefully we'll get to do it. I applaud Knuckleheads for being open and trying to maintain a business. I worry that not everyone is wear their mask, do the protocols, social distancing. I think, you get people that start drinking and they, I just hate it. I was wearing a mask and washing my hands even before the COVID because I play in bars and a lot of the drunks, when you play bars, they come up to you and spit all over you. You know the routine. And it's just, and you get sick, and you don't want to get sick. So as far as it opening up, I don't know. I know Green Lady's open now, but it won't have music for quite a while. That's a shame because that's just a great venue. I just love it. And the Black Dolphin there, and even the Orion Room downstairs. John's got a really great handle on what's going on in the jazzy side of music here in the city. And the Green Lady is the premier jazz club of the city, in my opinion. And it rocks. So it's a shame to see that. And he's just barely holding on, man. I mean, I'm surprised he's still, he was able to hold on, I think what helped also, the city opened up, everybody was closing at 10. Now it's opened till midnight. And you don't realize it, but that last hour, maybe 2 hours, that's when you make your whole amount of money you're going to make in a day, is those last hour or so, because everybody crowds in at the end of the evening. Yeah. And I was a house band at the Green Lady for a couple of years where I played every Sunday and Monday. And I would see it, all of a sudden the last hour, bam, that's where you'd make all your money, because it'd be wall-to-wall people. Why it comes out like that, I don't know. I've seen it in every other bar I play, though. It's just they all get crazier as the night goes on and they want to come out. So I'm hoping that everything's going to open up, to answer your question. I don't know, man. I don't think it's ever going to be quite like it was. I think that there's a new understanding of what the protocol to keep yourself from being sick is now. And I don't think it's running around being crazy drunk and, doing Ubers all night long. It's going to take a minute. That's what I see. I can't get work. I mean, I was surprised that Frank let me do the Knuckleheads. I think it's just because he likes me, but I tell you what, it was a blessing for me and the guys, because we missed playing, and then to have the people come out on a rainy night and COVID, protocols, they did come out. That was very gratifying, emotionally satisfying, so I just can only hope and pray that. I love Kansas City. I just love the city. Anywhere I've been in the world, I've always bragged about where I'm from, and we've toured and we've played. I just hope to God it can bounce back, because Kansas City is the heartbeat of music. Our music is what motivates this town. All kinds, but mostly the jazz scene. It's just heartbreaking to see 18th and Vine not happening. Yeah, the Blue Room. It's just a shame, because that's another great landmark for jazz. And so we can only hope that people are going to somehow get their act together. And, even though you get the vaccine and everything, everybody feels a little more confident, everybody's not going to always feel confident. There's always going to be in the back of the mind, I better wear my mask. And that's going to be the new protocol for years to come, wearing a mask. It's the sad truth, in my opinion, of course. So I hope that answered your question. I just hope that the bars open up and people get smart, and the restaurants. God, we have such great restaurants in this city. And that whole entertainment industry and all the waiters and waitresses, the chefs, the bar help, tender, it's just everybody's down. No one has money. I'm broke on my hiney, man. I can't believe it. I'm 2 months behind on rent. I'm 70. I've never been this broke. Yeah. I've always had money I held on to because I had, a few songs that did really well on Billboard, and I made money. And I just hold on to it because I'm blowing on drugs or fast women or any of that, man. I hold on to my money. Every chance I get, I make money. I hold on to it because I've learned over the years that's what gets you through the rough times, is having a lot of money saved. And I did. I was amazed. Every so often, I get my royalties, and sometimes they're big and sometimes they're not. But every time I get some Gitas, I just tuck it away for a rainy day. And since March, all these months, my gosh, it's going to be coming up a whole year. I don't know how I've lasted this long. And my hat's off to my landlord for not kicking me out. I got 3 months behind before, months ago, in the spring. And I paid him back finally. But, I got a few checks in the mail. Every so often somebody will play my song on a soap opera or something, and when you get like 252 affiliates pay in, that adds up. So every so often I'll get a check, and then when I did, I paid him off, and then the stimulus helped, so I got to pay him off on that. Geez, man, it's just bad times, and but I think the city is resilient. The people here are outstanding. I've been all over Europe and all over the United States, and I think Kansas City is probably the best livable place I've ever been. I've been to some really beautiful spots, like in the Swiss Alps and that kind of stuff, or down in the Caribbean, but Kansas City is just a really livable place, and the people are wonderful, and the clubs have always been very accommodating. Where can you go? You can't make a living in New York playing jazz full time. You can't. All my friends that run up there and think that's going to be the haven, it ain't. Kansas City, you always work. I'm living proof, that I just made a living working 3 to 5 nights a week, every week, playing jazz clubs or private functions, something, casinos. I hate casinos, but, they do give you bread and butter.
Well, and talk to me a little bit about your radio show.
Well, it's an internet-based show network. It's called Global Sensations Radio Network. It's the place where your music lives. And so I've been hosting the show, I think, since April. Had a huge following. It just did wonderful. And now it has just dropped off terrible. We were talking about that yesterday, the owners of the station and I. I hosted my show last night. In fact, I was doing every Wednesday and Sunday, and now I'm just going to cut it back to just Sundays because the numbers are really poor. And it's not the station; it's just the sign of the whole sign of the times. A lot of people, I know other radio shows, people I know. So this is a really nice thing. I like to play smooth jazz. That's what I've been writing all these years. I didn't even know it because when they list me as a Missouri State Jazz Treasure, that's a real honor, but it don't pay the rent, do it?
Well, let me ask you this. What do you hope everyone realizes, both musician and the audience, when we do actually somewhat get back into the live music swing in earnest? What do you hope we all get from this time away from it?
Well, I hope we all realize just how precious and wonderful we have it. And I hope that everyone will take note and do what's necessary to help curb this disaster as much as possible. We all are citizens of the planet. It's not just here. We're all people of the world. And everybody has to come together and do the protocols and do what's right to help get past all this. They got to quit the politics. It's so incredible that the politicians aren't helping the people. They're still worrying about their partisan, what they want out of all these bills they're putting up. There's so much pork. Why can't they just come together, don't do business as usual, and just take care of the people that put them in office? They don't do that. They got to get their pork. Everybody needs to have $1 billion for the Kennedy Center. You know, I mean, it's just so sad that both parties are not looking out for the people. And I find that just exhausting. It's just sad. I'm really down on politicians now because they haven't taken care of the needs. We voted them in, and oh my God, it's just terrible. So I just hope that everyone will come together and support them, everybody, as we should, as the world community, just not Kansas City. Everybody's got to look out for the whole scene. We have to be responsible. Unfortunately, that means wearing one or maybe two disgusting masks all the time. You know, I have a protocol when I do go to the store, how I take my clothes off and I immediately wash them. I spray myself down when I get in the garage, you know, because you can crack it in on your feet. This stuff is resilient. It finds ways to get to you, and you just have to nip it any way you can, and then immediately take a shower because it gets in your hair. There's these things you just have to do, otherwise you're going to get it. It's that simple, you know. I've seen it, and I've seen my close friends die, and it's just so sad. And they didn't have pre-existing conditions. This is COVID death. Healthy young men, Jimmy Dykes. Oh my God, can't believe he's gone. What a talent. They're everywhere. Molly had a pre-existing condition. People need to come together and take responsibility and wear a mask, do what's necessary, take a bunch of vitamins, get zinc and magnesium in your system, do D3, do the things that will help you boost your immune system so you won't get it. Because if you don't, you're going to die. You know, I work with some guys out of Australia, and I did their album, and they're sending me more music they want me to play on. Usually they come to the States and do the albums. You know, they're staying over in Australia, and they're hit worse than we are. They're really shut down. And that's the other thing. They really need to, I don't want it. Trust me, I don't want it, but they need to shut everything down. Cut this stuff. I know we all have to continue to live and have a life. And I think that's the word there, life. Live or die. Okay, you want to live? We need to shut things down and quit going to things where we're passing it on. How many people went and had their family dinners on Thanksgiving? There was one family that had like 5 members catch COVID from that meeting. You know, people are they think they're above this or immune to it. I have 2 daughters, 17 and 20. They both got COVID. I was constantly in their face about wearing masks. They live with their mother and stepfather down in Springfield. Everybody in the family got it because no one was worried about having a protocol. They live in a small city called Nixa, and they think, you know, they don't need to wear masks. And then everybody got it. And I go, well, what do you expect? You go to these parties and you still live life as normal. You can't do that anymore. There's a new normal, and that's protocols that we have to do to save our lives. You know, let's just keep hoping on and hope somehow the politicians and the medical community these vaccines are just the start. They're going to get better. You know, better vaccines that are going to be able to curb all the variants that happen with the COVID. You know, they have all these they keep mutating into something other. And science is cool. They're going to catch on to this. And that'll come through. But I think it's going to take years before we'll ever get back to where we were before this. It'll never be the same. I don't see how it can. And that's sad. I don't want it to be. Of course I don't. I don't want people to die, definitely. But not a whole lot you can do about it. Being a piano player, jazz piano player in Kansas City, Missouri, I get on the radio. I enjoy my show. I was having, close to 1,000 people worldwide listening to my show every week. And that went on for months. I was so surprised. And then this last month, we just saw everything start falling off, the listenership. And the music's still coming, like I said, I do smooth jazz, and I like showcasing independent artists. I'm not really into trying to help the guys that already made it. I want to help the guy has that creative force inside of him, and has to get out. And I want to play his music. I want people to hear what's going on with those type of artists, and that's what I like about Station. They allow me that chance to play whoever I want, so I can really program the music whatever I want, and I choose to always get the newest smooth jazz I can find, and showcase their new music, and give these guys that are artisans in their own right a sacrifice and do everything they can for the love of their art and gift. And so I like to showcase it. That's my bag. That's why I'm doing it. You certainly don't make any kind of money off this. When I was a DJ on Magic 107, or I had a couple of years on KPRS, then I had 7 years on Magic 107. I made a shitload of money. I had sponsors, local sponsors. But being Max Groove, a lot of people knew me. I'm blessed with that, and they would come support my radio show I had on 107. Those guys never paid me. I had my own sponsors. That was our deal. Let me bring in sponsors, and and so that really made a lot of money for me for 7 years. But they're all good things when it's coming to an end. Their stock, cumulative stock, went from like $37 or $8 a share, went right down into the tank of like $6 a share. And they closed all the weekend radio shows. 110 radio stations stopped having live DJs. And they went to all this computer base. And that's sad. That's sad because you don't get that interaction that you get with the people that call in. But that's the sign of the times. So I don't know when it's going to get to be normal. I'm predicting, unfortunately, and I certainly don't want to be right, I think it's going to be years. It's not going to be this year that we get back to normal. I had a whole tour. I was starting in Tulsa, Oklahoma on June 5th and ending my tour in Lake Forest, New York on September 22nd. And all those festivals and clubs in between, I was going all over the country. And that was my last gig, doing a big festival in Lake Forest, New York. And all that canceled. That was tens of thousands of dollars I would have made for the summer. I could have lived on that all year long. But no, it canceled. And it took me, I worked on getting that tour with my agent and manager since last October, November. Because festivals around the world and around the States, that's what you have to do. They're always a year ahead almost, so you're always, you're confident. So that took a lot of work and money. And to have it all just vanish overnight was very disheartening. Really disheartening to forget just all the money I lost. Yeah, I need that. But just the emotional of not being able to play. Because that's what I live for. I live for making music. It's a gift from God, and I've done it. I've been playing guitar since I was 6, viola since I was 9, and keyboard since I was 15. And that's all I've ever done. So I'm like going, geez, so I don't know. I have no idea. I hope I live long enough to see it come back. That would be fun. At 70 years old, and hopefully I won't get the corona. I do all what I need to do. That's all you can do, man.
Yeah, just got to be hopeful, and hopefully things start, slowly upticking and get to a better place. Well, Max, man, thank you for getting in touch with me. I'm so happy that we had the chance to talk, and I really do hope.
Oh, thanks, Joe, and thanks for all you do, man. Neon Jazz, that's such a cool thing you do.
Thank you,
How
man.
cool. And listen into my radio show. It's gsrn-radio.net. gsrn-radio.net. And I'm there every Sunday from 4 Eastern Standard Time till 8 o'clock. It's fun having people from around the world listen to the show. We have a chat room on this radio station. So while I'm being live, you can chat with me and or some of the artists that get into the chat room and some of the other DJ personalities. So it's a real fun time, and I get to talk to people from all over the world that are tuning in and have opinions about things. So it's been very good. I like the radio show. Hope I get to do it. And I appreciate what you do again, Joe. Thanks, buddy, for having me.
Thank you. Absolutely. Thank you, Max. Take it easy.
Thanks for listening and tuning in to another Neon Jazz interview, where we give you a bit of insight into the finest cats in Kansas City and spots all over the world, giving fans all that jazz. And thanks to Max for all he does in the Kansas City music scene. If you want to hear more interviews, go to Famous Interviews with Joe Domino in the iTunes Store. Visit neonjazz at youtube.com, and for everything Neon Jazz all the time, go to the neonjazz.blogspot.com. Until next time, enjoy the jazz, my friends.
Neon Jazz.